Hi, I'm Joseph Holmes, and this is Overthinking Films. David Fincher may be the most popular director that many people don't realize they heard of. The fact is, a lot of people have seen his films and don't realize he's the same guy who directed all of them. Seven, Fight Club, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, The Social Network, Gone Girl, House of Cards. When people hear the list of his films, the usual first reaction is one of being impressed. Like, wow, he made all of those films? Followed quickly by remembering the disturbing subject matter of many of those films and saying, oh, he did all of those films? I mean, when you made your fourth film featuring murder sex, that's a decision. But there's one claim about him made by a lot of my fellow overthinkers of film that I'm not sure I agree with. And that's that David Fincher's films are nihilist. We're going to be talking about David Fincher films and nihilism, so spoilers for David Fincher films and maybe all of reality to follow. Nihilism is the belief that life has no meaning or purpose. Most of Western civilization, people believed that life did have meaning and purpose. To use Aristotle's analogy, human beings were like tools. We were made with a specific kind of purpose, an end in mind, that you could discover, and then when you found that, then you would be, and fulfilled that, did that, you would be happy. Like, if you're a hammer, your purpose is to hammer in nails. If you're diet soda, your purpose is to be a waste of money. Nihilists like Nietzsche said that because there was no tool maker, then human beings did not have an end or a purpose for our lives. Anything anyone lived or died for was just the equivalent of rocks bumping into other rocks and sending them down mountains. Nothing to live or die for. Why do people like that song? And no religion too. Ah, yes, I see. Now, it's true that David Fincher's films often scoff at many of the things that we find meaningful. In Seven and Zodiac, the heroic cops and reporters fail and the villains win or get away. In Fight Club, the American dream is shallow and unfulfilling. In Gone Girl, a seemingly perfect marriage is a lie.
No, I mean, you're insane. Why would you even want this? Yes, I loved you, and then all we did was resent each other and try to control each other and cause each other pain.
That's marriage.
In Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, social workers are rapists. In The Social Network, the nerdy, lovable CEO of our beloved Facebook is actually a jerk. In House of Cards, seemingly benevolent politicians are actually exactly what you'd expect. But skepticism toward things we find meaningful isn't itself nihilism. Because once you strip away the false things that we love and idolize, then you might still have something else worth loving and finding meaning in that gives us meaning underneath. And that is exactly what we find in David Fincher films. Gone Girl ends with, a brother and a sister's love and commitment to each other, and a father's love for his child. Social Network ends with, the muse of the story telling Mark Zuckerberg he's not so bad.
I'm not a bad guy.
I know that.
Sometimes things that look horrible are actually better than they seem. In The Game, the dark conspiracy that appears to be running the hero's life turns out to be really just a birthday party people are throwing for him. In The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, what you thought was a murder that they were trying to solve turns out to be an end with a joyful reunion between grandfather and granddaughter. Fight Club ends with the creation of Tyler Durden's dream world and love between a man and a woman. Seven actually ends with the hero saying these words.
Ernest Hemingway once wrote, "The world is a fine place and worth fighting for." I agree with the second part.
The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, most of all, shows characters who find love and meaning in the world, that it's, worth doing, and that you can be an artist or a dancer or something that you're meant to be and meant to live and love together. This meaning that people find, the characters find in David Fincher films, is not a lie that they made up because they need meaning in the world like Christopher Nolan films are. These are films, these are where people, the meaning is stuff that people run into and discover and find. What David Fincher films may have is a severe case of postmodern skepticism. Jacques Derrida, one of the fathers of postmodern philosophy, said that everything is open to interpretation. Anything that is written or said or seen can be interpreted in almost unlimited number of ways. And how you interpret something says a lot more about your experiences and your upbringing than really whether or not it's true. That looks like a good marriage. That could also look like a bad marriage from a certain point of view. That looks like a great, successful businessman. You could also see him as a liar and a thief and a cheat. In some people's readings of Jacques Derrida, he basically was saying, if something looks good, it's probably bad. If something's bad, it's probably good. You can see this dynamic in David Fincher films. Perfect Woman, murdering psychopath. Evil Conspiracy, birthday party. Now there's a lot in this that's positive that we can learn from David Fincher films. We can learn to be skeptical about what people say and present to us and be inspired to investigate further. Politicians saying they're on our side? Maybe we should investigate to see. Media is presenting the story one way? Maybe there's more to it than that and we can look at further. But this kind of story can also create in us a sort of lazy cynicism, a reflexive bias against believing what we see.
When there's emotional testimony, I assume 85% of it is exaggeration.
And the other 15?
Perjury. Creation myths need a devil.
We assume the politician is lying, even though he could be telling the truth and something important. We assume the media is lying, and so we don't investigate to see. We assume that marriage is probably horrible, so we don't aspire to have a great marriage ourselves. We assume that CEO is probably a crook who didn't really earn the spots and the privileges that he has. And that's the thing, is this kind of reflexive bias helps us to just believe what we want to believe anyway without having to be challenged by something else that might make us question that. Doesn't that sound way too close to the way the world really is today? Perhaps we've all grown up too much on David Fincher films, or films like that. Does that mean we need to stop watching David Fincher films? Well, no. I love David Fincher films, and like I said, it can help us to learn to be skeptical of what we're being sold. But perhaps we should watch more than just David Fincher films. We should watch other films that inspire us to investigate and see what meaning we can find in the world. And in our own lives, we should, as a habit, go out and see what's being sold to us and see if it's true or not. Because some things are true. And by doing that, we help tell the right story about our lives that takes the best of what David Fincher teaches. Maybe without the murder sex. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, click like and subscribe to my YouTube channel to see more videos like this. And go to my Patreon page to support me making more videos like this. And let me know what you think. Am I wrong about David Fincher films? If I am, leave a comment and let me know what you think. Of course, give reasons for what you think, because that's how that works.